Good day, everyone. My name is Linda Fweding, and you are listening to Umoja Sessions. This specialty episode is actually made up in a series about young African entrepreneurs that are employing creative and innovative ways to excel in their niche, as well as lead in their communities. This is their story. Today we travel to Congo, which is where our guest Espoir Ngalukiye is from. Espoir is a nonviolent activist and describes himself as a community organizer and volunteer. Espoir, welcome to Umoja Sessions.
Thank you so much, Linda.
Thank you, Espoir. Habari yako mzee?
Muzuri. We say habari. It means how are you? I'm good. Mimi ni poa sana.
Good to hear. So, Espoir, I'd like to start off by having you tell us a little bit about yourself.
It's not easy to talk about himself instead of myself, but I'll try. My name is Espoir Ngalukiye.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 27. I live in Goma City. It's an east part of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Oh, and I was born in the city of Bukavu in war
Mm.
period, just a year after genocide in Rwanda. And my city is neighbor of Rwanda. And when I was born, and was just a year after genocide, and I grew up in Goma and Bukavu, the both cities. I've studied in Goma in literacy. I finished in 2011, and I started university because in the educational system of DRC we have secondary school which have 6 years, primary school 6 years, and university 5 years. After my secondary school, I've started university where I've started computer science, and I've
Mm.
finished five since 5 years. And in 2016, after that period, I've started to be a social activist. When I was studying, I was a journalist in a local radio, which is called Radio Taina. And at the same period, I was doing some jobs to have some money and just to be active in the community. I was volunteering in some NGOs, local NGOs, and some youth activities created, and I was participating in creation of some non-profit organizations. Just 2 months after I finished my universities, I've become more active in a social movement which is called La Lucha. It means in
Mm-hmm.
French, lutte pour le changement, which we can translate in English by struggle for change. It's a non-violent and a non-partisan movement which
Mm-hmm.
is in Congo since 2012. For us, we think that the problem of DRC have to be solved by Congolese people, not by foreign people, not by NGOs, not by bad leaders. We are organizing public demonstrations calling for democracy, calling for respect of human rights, and calling for peace, calling for good governance. These are the main activities which we are organizing in Congo. But even if we are most of the time arrested, since that time and now I was arrested more than 16.
You've been arrested more than 16 times because of your nonviolent activism.
Exactly. Even we are arrested, but I can't stop, and we can't stop. We'll never stop. It's giving us courages to continue the fight because we are doing a good fight, a good struggle. If we are not doing it, if we can't do it, nobody will do it.
Wow. As well, that's very inspiring. Can you start by telling us a little bit about how you got involved into community activism and where is your passion coming from? Where is this fire coming from? Because anybody who would have been going through the things that you've gone through, you mentioned that you were a journalist and you were presenting satirical chronicles and things like that. But then, because of you speaking against the local government, they had to remove you from the radio. So anybody else would have gone back home and cried themselves to sleep and stopped there. But you continued and you joined La Luca and you joined all of these other organizations. So where is this fire coming from? How did this start?
I don't know exactly where, but the first reason is I was born to fight for people, to fight for others. I will just this is it's what we call in French indignation, a frustration. I was very angry when I was seeing how people who are living in Congo are very poor, and my country is the richest country.
Yes. Congo is the richest country in Africa and possibly in the world.
But Congolese are very, very poor. Another fire came with that frustration when I was seeing how people can be poor in this country. The origin of this, it was bad governance. I've started to claim elections. As you said, I was a journalist, but let me tell you just a little story. One day, when I was journalist and so in social activist at the same time, I had a broadcasting in the most famous political broadcasting in Congo, which is called Dialogue entre Congolais, the UN radio called Radio Okapi. And at that radio, I was with the mayor of my city of Goma. He didn't have any argument. Anyone knew it, because some people who were claiming election were killed after our public demonstration 2017. People were killed, and the mayor of the city of Goma was the responsible of the security. And in that broadcasting, everyone had fear of me. Everyone were saying, "Oh, this guy is telling like that to the mayor of the city, calling Kabila to give up and to organize elections. They don't have fear." Just a day after that broadcast, I received a call of my radio saying the CEO is waiting for you at his office. I said, maybe he will congratulate me after my broadcasting. Many people were listening at this broadcasting. But when I was in his office, he gave me a letter and he said, "I have this letter for you. After I know that you are passionate or what you are doing. Congratulations, but I don't have any choice." I read a letter at the in his office, and I said, okay, I understood. He was surprised because my attitude was I didn't scare.
You expected it. You weren't scared. You weren't begging for your job back.
And I knew it before. Another little story. One day, when I have participated in my first biggest public demonstration, he punished me for a month because
Hmm.
he said a journalist can't participate in a public demonstration calling for political things. When I was punished, I was again arrested, and I said, "Oh my God, I'm punished for a month. I didn't finish my punishment, and again I'm arrested. This is my end of my job." But I've continued, and after I knew that one day it will happen, I'll be
Hmm.
kicked out one day, and it happened, and I continue. The largest fire came from this period when I saw, because of my civic engagement, I'm fired. I
Hmm.
have to continue because I'm in the good part of the story, and those people will regret after. And I continue. But the largest reason, the largest origin of this fire came from this frustration, and I think we have to give the good country to the next generation.
Yeah, I mean, I want to give people a little bit of background on what you're talking about. So, the audience doesn't know. So, dozens of people were killed in clashes with government forces across the Democratic Republic of Congo. And I don't know if it was in 2016 or 2017, but according to BBC, it was 2016. And they were protesting President Joseph Kabila's decision to postpone elections for another 2 years. So there were members of the Nonviolent Citizen Group, which is your group, La LUCHA, who campaigned for political reform in the country and for Kabila to step down. But things didn't end the way that you wanted. But this fight that you're having and this fight that you're going through is a fight that a lot of Africans, a lot of young Africans are going through throughout the continent. Leaders that do not respond to their needs, leaders who do not necessarily care for their ideas or care for their position in the community. It's very troubling to me as a Cameroonian, as you know, as a fellow sister in arms. And I'm just wondering, how do you go about your day to day life every day?
Ha! It depends on a day to another one. When we have a public demonstration, I stop everything. I'm focused on what on our public demonstration. But every day I have to read more and I have to write. Currently, I'm telling about my daily life currently because in a year ago I was working on some NGOs, and if you want, I can list those NGOs where I was working and with whom I was working. And before I was working in a local NGO which is called Congo Peace Network. It's a local NGO which is focused on human rights, good governance, peace, and mentoring of young people. And after that, I was working with Panzi Foundation with the Dr. Denis Mukwege, the Nobel Peace Prize last year. And now I'm focused more on my civic engagement, my civic commitment for the good governance in Congo. I'm mentoring young people about how they can be important to the community, how they can be important to the to influence political decisions, how they can be important to give their vision and to practice their vision according the country. Because the
Mm,
most important thing which we need in our country, it is leadership, the good leadership, political leadership. This is the lack which we have in Congo, and to fight against this lack, we need to be prepared. We need to know what we need in Congo and what how we can be the solution.
wow. So, as we're speaking right now, you're in a village in Congo. And so, can you tell us a little bit of where you are and what you're currently doing there?
So I'm in Masisi. It's a territory of North Kivu province. I'm doing some consultation to teach local leaders good governance and non-violence. The majority of Congolese lives in villages area, and we are this NGO. I don't need to tell the name of the NGO for the security, and we are preparing it's preparing how local how people can be interested in local governance and the local
Mm,
governance in rural area. And
mm-hmm,
I was chosen to be to teach those people the good governance and non-violence, how they can claim their rights in peaceful way. Because Masisi is a region where since 30 years there is no peace. Every time rebellion groups are created and local defense of local tribes are created, people think that the one way to claim their right is to use violence way, to use weapon to kill others, and for them it's the main manner to defend their right and to give their opinion. And I'm trying to teach them how they can. Everyone need to claim his right, but it have to be in peaceful manner,
mm-hmm.
in non-violence way, and the good governance too, because the I think we will talk about it after the problem of Congo, bad governance and bad leadership. The both are the most the lack of Congo, because many people think that the problem of Congo is war, is lack of good infrastructures. People think that the problem of DRC of Africa is corruption, lack of peace, and this is just a consequence of other things. We try to
Mm,
represent this problem like a tree. You know, every tree have three parts, three more most important parts. Let's present like an avocado tree. Think that in front of you, you have the avocado. If you can cut the uh, those avocado, those fruits, an avocado can continue to grow up, right? The problem of Africa, the problem which everyone can see, we represent it like an avocado. You can solve that problem, but the problem will continue. This problem will come again. The which we call in French le tronc. Yes, the trunk, we represent it like a bad governance.
mm,
The avocado is the problem which everyone can see, and we can solve those problems, and those problems will come again, maybe a
mm,
year after, a month after. But the trunk is the bad governance. You can cut the trunk of the tree. The tree will not grow up, and if it will grow up, it will take many years, many time. And
mm,
the last part is the roots. The roots for us represent us as people, us as young people, as young leader, as people who are seeing the problem, and people who have idea to solve those problems. After cutting the trunk, the bad governance, it's easy to cut the roots, and the
mm,
roots represent people. All those leaders who are leading the country came from the roots, and
mm.
the roots is composed by education, is composed by our models, public personalities. We don't have models in Africa, in all Africa, in Congo. The only models which we have is people who we are following on social media, people who are in movies, people who are already deaf. Not more. No, we don't have models in our country, in our community, and we need to build people to become their own models, to become models
Mm.
of in their community. We don't need to have, okay, my model is Trump, is Obama, my model is Xi Jinping, my model is those foreign people. We need to have models in our own country. The most good models in Africa, the majority of them are deaf. It's not a good thing to have models who are not living.
I want us to talk a little bit about your track record because I don't want our listeners to think that you're just another person on the radio just venting about their country. And I really want them to understand ton parcours, comme on dit en français, your journey. So, first of all, I met you at the Yali Mandela Washington Fellowship. And something interesting about that is that before coming to the US, you had sent thousands of emails to the diaspora and you were basically trying to mobilize everybody. And I know that that kind of shook the African diaspora in the US because nobody had ever seen such passion, such fire coming from a young person. And you were not only a scholarship recipient of the Mandela Washington Fellowship, but also you're an alumni of the program and you're the country ambassador for Congo. Another notable thing that I want everybody to know about is that Espoir, you became an honorary citizen of the city of Alexandria in Virginia in the United States in 2019. You are also part of the 50 young people that are under 35 and that are the most influential in Congo. So this journey that you've been through, it's very inspiring. So you are basically an example of the type of leaders that other young people need to be looking up to in Congo and in their local cities. Do you agree with that?
I totally agree with you. And we need to change Africa and we need to change our respective countries, but we have to work together. We have to build our network. People who are living in diaspora, people who are living in our respective countries, we need to work together. And the only way to work together is to know each other. To know, I know someone who is living in this country, he's doing this, he's passionate about this. We'll never do the
Mm,
same thing together. We'll never do the same thing together. And another thing is, when I was in US, with other people, Mandela Washington Fellow, with other Yali, I said before, I said this will be an opportunity for me to change people to work for their country, not only to work for them, not only to be focused on social media, to write things on social media by waiting a measure to come and change things in our countries. I said to them, what we need in Africa is everyone to choose how he'll intervene to change things among four things. The first one is politics. The second is business. The third is NGO, civil society. And the fourth is international relation. Everything which I'm doing is not to have some prizes. It's not to be known. It's not to be a famous person. It's not I'm not focused about it. I'm focused on how I can influence people to think things like how I'm thinking them, how we can
mm,
change Africa. If we think Africa will change by foreign countries, by NGOs, we are dreaming. And it's someone who is dreaming and he's working, he's not a good dreamer. A good dreamer is someone who is doing things with vision, not only to stay with theory and to be focused on the past. We have to be focused on the present, on the future. We can live
mm,
without the past. It's possible, but we'll never live without the future and without the present. People think that foreign people, foreign countries, foreign leaders, NGOs are good or are bad. But for me, they are in the middle. They are good and they are bad at the same time. They are bad if they show us that the only manner to change our respective countries is to be like US, like European countries, like China. But we are Africans. Africa is not US. Africa is not China. We have our reality, but the common thing is good governance is the development of Africa. This is what we need. Everyone have work for the development of Africa. When I got the citizen of the city of Alexandria in US, someone from Congo told me that, you guy, you've changed the nationality by becoming an American. And I said, I'll never change my nationality. If I can change my nationality, is to become an African. If when Africa will be one country, I'll change my nationality by becoming an African. At this time, and not my identity will not be only Congolese identity. It will be an African identity, and I think it's possible. And at the beginning of this year, when I was classified with other young people from Congo who are more influential people, I think it like when you're walking by foot and you meet an unknown people, you greet him and you continue your journey. This is what my definition of those who compensate. It just I meet an unknown people, I greet him, and I continue my journey.
So it's not anything crazy to you. It's not anything that you're going to be prideful about, but you're very humble about this designation.
I can get them and I'll continue because the only thing which makes me crazy is when I get results of what I'm claiming. If you are claiming human rights, you are claiming election, when we get it, okay, it's good. When you are
Mm.
claiming peace, when I get it makes me crazy. But when we didn't get them, we have to continue. It's like we don't need to be satisfied with but with less thing. We have to claim more. When we claim more, we'll get more. When we'll not claim anything, we'll get anything. When we claim less things, we'll get less things. And we need to claim more to get more. And the only way to claim more is to leave our comfort zone. You know, people think we were claiming 10 things, we got two things. It's not like zero. No, we need to get 10 things. Why not 11 or 12?
So basically, your motto is Africa for Africans by the Africans.
Exactly. By working with others.
Exactly. And you believe that, yes, there's room for collaboration with other organizations, with other countries. But with Africans having the final say, with Africans being able to benefit from these collaborations, from these projects, and not have them be tricked out of a project and end up having the project being in control of a foreign government, of a multinational, like it happens here every single day, basically. I definitely like what you're saying, and I would like to repeat the four characteristics that you mentioned earlier, but in French, because I know that some of your listeners speak French amongst other languages like Swahili, Kikongo, Lingala, and Chiluba. But I will focus on what I know. And so you said, pour le changement dans son pays et en Afrique, on doit avoir la politique, l'esprit d'entreprise, la société civile, donc le secteur à but non lucratif, les relations internationales. Those are the four categories that you mentioned that every single African country needs in order to improve, which is politic, entrepreneurship, social engineering, and international relations, diplomacy. I really think that these are an amazing mission for every African or for every Congolese to be able to have a seat at the table. I really think that it is. I would like to finish off by something a bit lighter. Can you tell us a little bit about all of these languages that you speak and how that communicates, how you communicate, and how that affects your relationships with your neighbors, your neighboring countries, and with your day to day life in Congo?
Thank you so much, Linda. And you know, every African who need the change have to choose among those four things. Without choosing among those things, I mean, you need change, but you don't need to be an actor of this change which we're needing. And we don't need people who needs others to change, but we want
Mm,
people who are changing things. And it's like
mm,
Christians, you know, Christians when they in the Bible, according the story of Moses with people of Israel in Egypt. Moses came with Israeli people, but he've never been in Canaan. But Joshua,
mm,
who arrived in Canaan, didn't have the same role of the same mission like Moses. And in the
mm,
fight which we are doing, we can be Moses or we can be Joshua. Joshua will, of the fight of Lumumba, of Thomas Sankara, and of Malcolm X. But we can
mm.
be at the same time, we can be Moses of in the globalization area and the globalization world currently.
Or you can be Kimpavita, and you can be Queen Zinga, and you can be Princess Yenenga as well. So you're right. Everybody has a role to play. Not everybody is going to be there at the end of the line, but if everybody puts in the work, if everybody plants a tree and knows that that tree is going to give shade to future generations, then we've already won the battle. We've already won the war.
Yeah, according to those languages, you know, in Congo we have many languages, but we have four national languages, which is Swahili. And when you need to say like thank you in Swahili, you say aksanti sana. In Kikongo, we say matondo mingi. The same thing like in Lingala. In Lingala, we say tu matondo mingi. And in Chiluba, we say tuasa kidila. Kikongo, Lingala, Chiluba, Swahili.
So do you speak all those languages?
No, not all of them, but I speak Lingala and Swahili. And
Mm,
Lingala and Kikongo look like similars. And in
mm,
Chiluba, it's not easy. It's not an easy language. I know just I have some basic notions. I have
mm,
basic knowledge according this language. And according the mother tongues, my mother tongue is Mashi. And in Mashi,
mm,
we say Koko Bwenene. It means thank you so much. I know some basic words in other languages, like in with our neighbor, with Rwandese. For them, they say urakoze. It means thank you. And this language, I know it. I know some words. They are our neighbor, and I know some have some knowledge according to their language.
mm. So, do you use Lingala to communicate with your neighboring languages, or do you use Swahili?
I use Swahili when I'm talking to people who are living in west parts of DRC. Let me explain you like an image. DRC, like every country, have four parts: north, south,
Mm,
east, west, and center. And in
mm-hmm,
west part of DRC, they speak Lingala. In east part where I live, we speak Swahili. In south parts, in southeast part, they speak Swahili too. But in
mm,
southwest parts, they speak to some region. They speak Chiluba, and
mm.
others in Lingala. In the middle, they speak Chiluba. In north, they speak Lingala, and in northeast, they speak Swahili, like some Swahili and Lingala too.
So, where do they speak Kikongo?
Kikongo in West part, so in West part, Kikongo is most in just in one province. It's in Congo Central, and West part they have there are many provinces, more than 5 provinces, and in one province they speak Kikongo only. But in Kikongo, it look like in in 50 years, I don't know if Kikongo will continue to be speaking, because many people who are speaking Kikongo are using more Lingala currently.
And that's because Lingala is basically your national language. The military uses it, and other parts of Congo.
Yeah, Lingala is like our identity among all those languages. It's like our
Mm.
identity, and is the national language of military. And we are in the country where musician artists have the largest power. Not all, but though all those famous, they use Lingala. But now the new generation, some among them are mixing Lingala, Swahili, French, and English too.
That's interesting. So I'm asking all this because language is an important part of our African identity. Our native languages have all been hijacked. And for example, in Cameroon, our national languages are French and English, just as in Canada. You would think that at least one of our native languages would make it up there, but no. I'm saying this to say that a lot of Pan Africanists, a lot of people who believe in the unification of Africa believe that it will come about as well with a unique language. And a lot of them are pushing for Swahili. What is your opinion on that?
My opinion is I know that language is most important according to the identity, but we cannot be focused on one identity only. The most important identity is the vision and the dream of one Africa, not one language. Because if we choose one
Mm,
language, like Swahili, people who speak Wolof will say, why not Wolof? People
mm,
who speak Malinke, they say, why not Malinke? And let us be focused on the fight, how we can get one country. And
mm,
other fights, including one currency, one passport, one president, one army, one language, those things will come after, because we have
but,
to go step by step. But I think
mm,
foreign languages are important too. because
Mhm.
without them, it cannot be easy for Africans to speak or to talk with others Africans. Uh,
Mhm.
I know one Kenyan writer who is Ngoji or Chongo. I don't know if it's exactly his name. He stopped to write things in English and he started to write things in Swahili. Those people who need to know what he's writing, they need to speak Swahili or to translate. Education is not only about language.
Mm.
Education have to be focused on how we can solve our problems in Africa.
Definitely. I definitely agree with you to a certain extent. And I definitely think that we should focus on the end goal first, and then all of these other things that we need and that we want and that will make it concrete will come after. But I would like to commend this Kenyan writer, though, because it takes a lot of guts to go out of your way and do something like that. I think it's a testament to his vision and to what he wants for the future of Africa. And like famous authors, when their book is pretty famous, they end up translating it in so many different languages, 30, 50.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's definitely not a problem. And the point is to make that first step, like you're talking about. And I definitely think that in terms of languages, having a unique language is definitely a great ideal. But in order to do that, we must not lose our Wolof, our Malinke, our Douala, our Ngomala, so that we do not lose our identity, because language and culture and traditions are very much interrelated in so many ways that we cannot understand. And losing a language is like losing a people. When a population dies, their language dies with it, and a whole library burns to the ground. So I definitely think that it's an important topic, and it's an important thing that we must all critically think about. But like you said, the goal is a one Africa. The goal is unity, is Umoja.
And Swahili is among the official language of African Union, but I've never heard one speech, only one speech, which was made in Swahili at AU. I've never heard about it, never. And another identity is a religion, a spiritual identity. We don't have it in Africa, and all those identity have to come after. Because if we need to choose those identity now, will make
Hmm.
many people will divide many people, and we need to
Hmm.
focus as I said, and as you repeat it again, one Africa will give us opportunity to get one identity in many area. People who speak Ewe, people who speak Sesotho, people who speak Setswana, people who speak Afrikaans, people who speak Zulu, people who speak Xhosa, and all those people, when they have one identity, we don't need to have, okay, my identity is Congolese, my identity is Cameroon, my identity is Djibouti, is Nigeria, is Senegal. My identity have to be Africa. My country is Africa, my province is Congo.
That's very deep. Before we end, I would like you to give our listeners a few tools and resources if they too would like to continue the fight like you, if they too would like to be nonviolent activists, they too would like to fight for human rights and for a better Africa. What tools, what resources do they need, and where can they find that? Who do they speak to, and all of that?
Currently, we have many Africans who are writing things and who can be our models. And we have social media and we have internet too. And we have people like Kemi Seba. I really appreciate him. He's inspiring many Africans, and just on social media, on YouTube, on Facebook, and others like Malcolm X, like Martin Luther King, like the life, the story of Thomas Sankara, of Lumumba, and all those people like we have one theoretician of nonviolence. He's from America. He's called Jen Sharp, and his books are the majority of his books are online, and people can download them. And on my website, I'm planning to put those books on my website, which will be Espoir Ngalukiye.com, and I'm planning to put all those materials to people for people who will be needing those things to read, and why not to make some videos for those who need to follow and to practice those theory too.
Wow, that's really amazing. We will post your website down below in our website, on YouTube, and on all of the platforms where this podcast is going to be broadcasted. And honestly, thank you very much, Espoir. You're an inspiration. Like you said, you're a leader in your own right, and you are a mentor for those your age and those who are younger than you. And honestly, thank you for that fight. And it's not enough to say thank you unless we too contribute. So I would definitely ask our viewers and our listeners to really focus on something that they are passionate about. Focus on solving a problem in their communities and start from there. Like the Swahili proverb, Elimu ni misingi ya maisha, which means education is the foundation of life. I like to end with this proverb because I always believe that you start by educating yourself before hitting the ground running. So thank you for listening to Umoja Sessions. My name is Linda Foinding. I am a princess warrior and an Afro optimist.